But Jesus Christ is not Jesus' full name, like my name is Daniel Edwards. Jesus Christ is a title, like my title is Pastor Daniel. It's an office, a status, a calling. And the word Christ is just the Greek form of the Hebrew word Messiah. And all throughout the Old Testament, the Bible tells us about this coming Messiah. And the word Messiah literally means to run down or to spread out. And the reason they referred to as a Messiah or someone who was a called one with this term is because when they were anointed or chosen by God, a prophet or the people would come to them and they would pour oil over their head. And that oil would run down the side of their head onto their shoulders and onto their clothes, and that was a sign that they had been chosen. And in the Old Testament, there were three types of people that were typically anointed with oil. They were kings, prophets, or priests. And a king was called by God, chosen by God, to lead his people into victorious battle over their enemies and to bring stability to the nation of Israel. The prophet of God was one who was to take the truth of God and proclaim it to the people. And a priest was one who worked among the people to draw them closer to God and help them experience forgiveness of their sins and cleansing of their unrighteousness so that they could have a relationship with God. But every one of these prophets, priests, or kings in the Old Testament, they failed. Because even though there were kings that led the Israelites into some incredible victories in battle, no one was able to overcome the greatest foe of sin. Even though there were some prophets who did an incredible job of communicating the truth of God to the people, there was none who could explain fully, give an accurate demonstration or representation of who God was. And even though there were some priests that loved the people and worked among them and drawed people closer to God, none of them could restore a totally right relationship between God and the people. And so when John tells us that Jesus is the Messiah, I want you to notice that he doesn't tell us that he is a Messiah. He is not an anointed one. He is the Christ. He is the Messiah. He is the anointed one. And that's because he is the King of kings, the prophet of prophets, and the priest of priests. He's come to do what no king could ever do, what no prophet could ever communicate, and what no priest could ever accomplish. Jesus is the final and ultimate fulfillment of the anointed one. He's the Christ, the Messiah, the one.